Fire is coming to Alpha 4.0, and for the initial release, it's only coming for the interior of ships. We'll discuss how the fire spreads, what starts it, how to put it out, and can you set fire to other people's ships. All that and more in today's video. Fire is tightly intertwined with the resource network. The resource network is the system that manages all the components within a ship and its resources. Alongside that is the life support system. So how do you start a fire? So fire starts when a component or a flammable surface gets damaged to a certain point. If you shoot at a component, or if that component reaches 0 health, it will ignite a fire. If you launch a grenade at a flammable surface, it will also ignite a fire. Another way to ignite a fire, even if the health of the component doesn't reach 0, if the component misfires and it has the highest level of wear and tear, it has a chance of igniting a fire. So it's really important in Alpha 4.0 to take care of our components and make sure they're operating at the most efficient way they could be operated at. Another way to ignite a fire is that if the atmosphere of the environment, in this case the inside of the ship, is hot enough to ignite a fire. So if the atmosphere is really hot, then some surfaces might start to ignite a fire. Now this is a rare occurrence, and they mentioned that if there is a planet, for example, that is super hot, if you open the ship's ramp at that planet, there's a chance, if that planet is hot enough and the atmosphere gets exchanged between inside of the ship and the outside, if it's hot enough, it has a chance to ignite a fire in the interior of the ship. However, we currently don't have a planet in the game right now to have that actually occur. This is technically and systemically possible, but is not likely since we don't have a planet that is really hot enough to ignite the insides of our ship just by opening our doors. That would be insane, and we don't have that yet. So the main factors that affect the fire, how it propagates, if it distinguishes on its own or continues growing, are 3 main components: oxygen, fuel, and temperature.
Part of the fire hazard system propagation is based on the fire triangle, which is oxygen, fuel, and temperature. Oxygen is tracked by the room system. The atmosphere, that is, most rooms in the universe have their atmosphere tracked, including oxygen. The fuels, they will be tracked on the surfaces, so every surface in the universe is marked up with a surface type. That surface type has different properties for fire propagation to work.
Fire starts at an initial location and it spreads slowly at first, and so it will not just engulf the room shortly after it ignites. It will take time for it to propagate through the space, and it depends on the materials and the surfaces that surrounds the flame. And the more the fire grows, the faster it will actually propagate through other materials, and the larger it'll get. Most surfaces will be combustible except for a few exceptions, one of them being glass. Glass will not catch on fire. Some materials that doesn't seem like it should be on fire, like the metals, they will assume that behind these metal walls are some pipes and materials that are flammable. So that way, metal surfaces can be flammable as well. The difference between materials will have the propagation of the fire differ. I would assume that fire propagates through wood faster than metal, for example. Now, a lot of things could catch fire. Your cargo can catch fire, any components that you have lying around could catch fire, and that could damage it. So you don't want your cargo or anything for that matter to catch fire. Something that I really got disappointed when I listened to it: players cannot be on fire. You cannot set a player on fire. You're telling me that I can't set myself or my enemies on fire? I was gonna have a bonfire with all the NPCs that I killed, and now you're telling me that I can't. So I was really disappointed by that. But yes, you cannot set yourself or NPCs on fire. The only thing that will happen to your character is that you'll just get damaged and get knocked out and probably die, but you will not be set on fire. If you don't have your helmet, and if the oxygen levels in the ship or in the environment that you're in depletes because it is being consumed by the fire, then your character will suffocate. Another thing that I got disappointed at, that we will not have fire outside of the ships, only on the inside. So you're not gonna see a flaming reclaimer dropping from the sky and falling into the ocean. Maybe it'll smoke if you're opening the doors, but it will not catch fire on the outside, only the inside. If you have a flammable object or a burning object and you put it in another ship, and it could actually spread the fire on that ship just by moving the flammable object into the other ship. Assuming that you're in atmosphere atmosphere, because if you're in space, then the fire will be put out if it's in space. But if it's in atmosphere, then you could move it to another ship and it'll catch fire there. If you have a fire aboard the ship and you let it, for whatever reason, burn the ship, then it might hit some components and then your ship will stop functioning. So it's really important to stop the fire as soon as possible. Coming in Alpha 4.0, all the ships will have fire extinguishers on board them. So it'll be relatively easy for you to grab a fire extinguisher and extinguish the fire. However, these fire extinguishers have a limited fuel. So if you ran out of fuel, you could put them again in their container and charge it that way. However, if you don't have a life support system that is functional and is filled, then you cannot recharge it and then you'll burn. An important thing to keep in mind is that you don't aim at the fire itself. You have to aim at the base of the fire in order to extinguish it. You have to wait and make sure that it's extinguished, otherwise some of the smoke that is left behind could reignite the fire again. If you left the fire unattended and you did not distinguish it and your components are destroyed, then the fire will engulf the whole of the ship and it will just be black. It will consume all of the ship. Another way to extinguish the fires without having to use the fire extinguisher is by using the life support system. You can vent the rooms and deplete the room from its oxygen supply. That way, there is nothing to fuel the fire, so the fire will get extinguished that way. We also saw a new sneak peek of, I guess, the new UI for the life support and the resource network system, but it's very still heavy work in progress. Another way to extinguish it, if you are in space, you can open the ramp doors or any doors that leads to the outside and you can vent the room that way, and that will also extinguish the fire. Once the fire is extinguished, it will scar and burn the surface that it was burning. The only way to clean it and to repair it is through the hangars. You cannot repair it or restore it to its original state by yourself. I think fire is a crucial and important feature in the game and will affect us more than we know it. Imagine combat scenarios. How would other ships firing at us will ignite fire in our ship, and how would we respond to it? What if we are in a single seater and we could either fly the ship or extinguish the fire, and we have to choose? And for bigger ships, we'll definitely need multi-crew gameplay in order for people to control the components, deliver the power to its appropriate places, and also manage the fire and really try to prevent it rather than deal with it. So I think fire is really going to be a game changer when it comes in 4.0, alongside with the life support and the resource network systems. With that said, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you like these changes? Do you think fire is gonna be a hassle to deal with? Do you think it adds immersion to the game? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And as always, thank you guys for watching and see you next time.